Krista's coming today. I'm nervous. I better get Mike to come with me. Everybody likes Mike Golick. That's why he went on to have such a great career on ESPN TV and radio. The three of us went to a bar with live entertainment. The guy let Mike and I get up and sing with him. Krista laughed and took pictures.
He was so nervous that he brought a friend. For the love of a brown-haired girl, he'd do anything.
The next day we beat the Bengals in the Astrodome. She came back one more time, we beat the Vikings. 7 months later, I asked her to marry me. She said yes.
For the love of a brown-haired girl.
I wish I could say we lived happily ever after, but that ain't how life works, is it? Shortly after Krista gave birth to our third daughter, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. Up until then, Krista had never handled adversity well, but you should have seen how she handled this. For 4 years, I watched her lose her hair, her health, her beauty, the ability to care for her home and her 3 daughters. I watched her crack jokes with patients and nurses while they pumped chemo into her veins and came home and played with the girls. She did surgeries like she was having her hair done. She said her new strength came from Jesus. But when I took the call from her doctor that night in July that the cancer was now in her brain and her spine and that she was going to die, we were about to find out if Jesus was real or not. She was going to leave her babies. They were going to lose their mama. Some days, we had as many as 50 people in our home coming to see Krista. People would show up expecting to have to encourage her in some way, only to leave completely amazed and encouraged by her. Here was their old friend and Pac-10 athlete who was now a mere shadow of the strong and beautiful friend they once knew, barely able to hold herself up in her wheelchair. Yet here she was laughing, cracking jokes, asking them about their lives and their kids' lives as if she didn't have a care in the world. She lost the use of her left arm and leg shortly after the cancer went to her brain and spine. So she needed me to help her to go to the bathroom, shower, and get dressed. Plus I gave her all her medicine and helped her in and out of her wheelchair. She kept asking me what the doctor's going to do next. I told her there wasn't anything they could do. She made me take her to see him anyways. Can you at least get me the use of my arm and leg back, she said. The doctor said, well, shrinking the tumor in your brain might help, but it won't extend your life, Krista. Then the doctor said something that would chill anybody's bones. Krista, if we shrink the swelling in your brain, it'll take away the easiest way for you to die. I looked at her and that comment didn't faze her in the least. Let's do it, she said. Well, I never did give her back the use of her arm and leg, but now she was fighting again. It lifted her spirits even more. The peace of God was never more evident than the day Krista made me take her to see the gravesite I picked for her. I'd taken my 10-year-old Blair with me to see it, and she liked it. Had a little magnolia tree beside it like the one we had in our yard at home. And on our way back to the house, my cell phone rings. It's Krista. You picked it without me, she said. Well, yeah, I mean, who'd want to pick their own gravesite? Krista, that's who. She sat next to her gravesite. I knelt beside her in a wheelchair, and with tears running down her face, she said, "It's perfect." as I think back on two of us sitting there by the graveside, I don't know how we could have done that unless there really is such a thing as the peace of God. And when I think of what we did next, I'm even more sure. She looked me in the eye and said this: "Let's go to In-N-Out Burger for lunch." And that's what we did. As we sat in our minivan, both of us eating cheeseburger and fries, I knew beyond a shadow of doubt that God's power is real. Because people don't eat when they're depressed. The fact that she could sit there and eat a cheeseburger and fries after seeing her own gravesite was just downright amazing. Over 600 people came to Krista's memorial service. I was able to get up in front of everybody without crying and tell them all the amazing things I saw Krista do the last 4 years of her life. Now the hardest work was yet to be done, being a single parent. Homemaking and child care were never meaningful work for me, but I gave it my best. House was messy a lot, but they got all my love.